G'day and Merry Christmas from Jason the Middle-Aged Gear Junkie. 2021's been a very stop-start year here in Australia, so the less said about that, the better. One of the good things about this year for me is the fact that my channel has continued to grow and it's doubled in subscriptions just this year, which is absolutely enormous for me. So thank you guys so much for watching my videos, liking them and subscribing. It really means a lot. So I might start this video by talking about some of the real standout pieces of gear that I tried this year. The first bit of gear that I want to highlight was this, the MXR Tremolo. Now this came out late last year and I did a demo of it in January of this year and I was super impressed with this thing. It's got 6 different modes of tremolo, it's got filter mode, it's fully stereo. It's worth pointing out it is digital, but you know what, it's just so brilliant. I mean, it's a crime that I don't play it more often. That's how much I like it, especially when it's in stereo. As most of you probably already know, I love the Marshall black box pedals, and the only one that was missing from my collection was an original Guv'nor, which I bought earlier this year. And this is a made in England version, and I absolutely love it. I mean, this thing hardly ever leaves my board. It's left my board right now so I can hold it up and show you it, but as soon as I'm finished this video, it's going straight back on there. I love this thing. It's brilliant. A couple of months ago, I made a video called My Favorite Amp in a Box Pedals, and I think for me that was probably my favorite video I made all year. All 5 of the pedals that I featured in that video I hold in very high regard. One of them was the Guv'nor, another one was this, the Messa V Twin. Now, I wanted to buy one of these when I first played one back in about 97 or 98. And I never end up owning one because I ended up buying the amplifier, so I never really needed it. But I bought this for that video, and I tell you what, it really does get those Messa sounds. I mean, through a Fender amplifier, you whack this on the high gain mode, and it sounds very, very reminiscent of a dual rectifier. So it sounds amazing. I'm probably not going to keep this because it's really big, it's really expensive, and I don't need it. I actually lent it to a friend for about 6 weeks so that I wouldn't sell it. Yeah, it's a wonderful pedal, and I really enjoyed making that video. Now, ever since I sold my Klon KTR, I've been in need of a decent Klon style pedal, and I finally found the perfect one for me, which is this, the J-Rocket Archer. It's no secret, these have been around for a long time and they are brilliant. I absolutely love this. I like it more than the Klon KTR, so come at me with your comments if you want to. I really, really enjoyed playing this, and I found it makes a really good match with my P90 loaded Les Paul. The two of them go really, really well together. Staying on the subject of J-Rocket, I also bought a Blue Note. Now, the only reason I bought this was because someone was selling it for less than half of its original value, and it was in mint condition. I was very, very pleasantly surprised when I plugged it in. It's an incredibly organic, responsive overdrive. What I could find out about it, it's supposed to be a TS type circuit. It didn't really remind me of a tube screamer at all. It reminded me more of my Blues Breaker. In fact, I could probably use this in the same capacity as I use my Blues Breaker, and I wouldn't lose out too much. Beautiful overdrive. Get your hands on one if you're into that sort of thing. If I had to pick a surprise of the year, it would have to be this, the MI Audio Blues Pro. This is an older version. As an overdrive, it's something in the ballpark of a Boss BD2. And it's quite good. It's very versatile, but it's got a toggle here where I can flick it over to fuzz mode, and it becomes a bit like a choked out fuzz face, I want to say. And although I'm not a huge fuzz fan, I couldn't stop playing with that fuzz tone. I really, really liked it. I mean, it reminded me a bit of the Smiley by JHS, which I demoed last year. When you put it into gated fuzz mode, this reminded me a bit of that, but it was not quite as gnarly as the JHS, so therefore for me it was a bit more usable, and I had a lot of fun playing this thing, and I'm having a hard time getting rid of it. Another pleasant surprise was the Danelectro CoolCat Chorus. Now this came out in the 90s, and I've always loved the look of these pedals, and I've never ever owned any of them. So this is an 18 volt, I think CE2 style chorus pedal, and it's built like a tank. And it sounds amazing. A local guitar player, a friend of mine called Shannon, he turned me on to this. He's had one on his board for a long time, and he said it's really good, check it out. So I got one in really good condition, and part of the reason it was such a pleasant surprise was because earlier this year I also bought a Fabtone distortion, also from the same series, and it sucked. It was absolutely awful. Mainly for me, I think it was the voicing of the EQ was just terrible, particularly the high frequencies, and also the pitometer for the distortion. I mean, with the distortion all the way down, it was like a metal zone. You turn the distortion up and not much else happens. It was awful pedal, but I've got to say the CoolCat is definitely worthwhile. As I've become a bit older, I've really started to appreciate Vox amplifiers and the Vox sound. And when I bought my Fender Deluxe Reverb about 3 years ago, I was tossing up between that and a Vox AC15. Now earlier this year, a Vox AC4, which is an all-valve little combo, came up for sale near me at a very good price. I went out and bought it because I just wanted to try it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. It's a great little amplifier, and it really does produce that sort of chimey Vox sound. I like it so much that I am going to probably get rid of it and buy an AC15 like I originally planned. My most significant pedal purchase this year was the TRex Replicator Deluxe. This is a tape echo, and I'd never played through a tape echo before. I've always been really interested in that kind of thing, and I've got to say, when I first got it, I didn't like it. I didn't like it for about the first few days that I had it. Luckily for me, I was able to contact TRex and said, you know, I had a bit of a problem with it having too much wow and flutter. They told me what to do, and I was able to fix that up, and now I absolutely love it. It's incredibly warm and mellow. My most significant purchase by some margin this year was my Gibson Les Paul Players Edition with P90 pickups. And I'll be honest with you, when I first got it, I didn't really like it. I bought it online from Reverb, which I've never done that with a guitar before. But after taking it to my repairer, getting him to do a decent setup for me, and then playing it for, I don't know, about 6 weeks or so, it really started to grow on me, and now I really, really like it. And I found, particularly with the J-Rocket Archer, the two go together really, really well, and I love the sorts of sounds that I get out of it. Through my association with Past Effects, I've been able to try out some really cool new products this year. First of all, there was the Fox Foot Phaser. This is the deluxe version. There's also the Nick James version, which is closer to the original Fox Foot Phaser. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it would sound a bit like a MXR Phase 90 or a Boss style phaser. And what I found out was that it was like neither of them. It really has its own sound. This one has 10 and 6 stage phasing. It's not a 4-stage phaser at all, unlike the other two that I just mentioned. What I found was that I tend to like it best with drive. This works really, really well with a bit of overdrive or distortion. I was set the Past Effects Chorus Ensemble MN3007 Mini. Now, the first pedal I ever sent me was the MN3007 Chorus Ensemble, which at the time I said, well, this is the best chorus I've ever tried. This one is the mini version of that. It's the same circuitry as the C1. It just has a slightly different chip, and it's the cheapest in that whole family of pedals. So if you want that C1 sound, but you don't have the money to pay for a really expensive version, this is the most affordable, and it sounds fantastic. The most difficult pedal review I've ever had to do was on the Past Effects Jet Phaser. And the reason for that was because it's not like anything I've ever played before. It's so different that, what I realized that instead of trying to play songs with it that already exist, I was better off actually writing my own music or just playing what came to my head instead, because it just doesn't sound like anything else. So as a creative tool, I found this to be really, really cool. And that's one of the things I love about sounds, is they can inspire you and take you in different directions. And I think that this pedal does that for me. About 6 months ago, Past Effects started bringing out a new series called the Spectrum series. Now, I've demoed 2 of those pedals so far, the TDY and the Revolution 4-stage Overdrive. Now, both of these pedals are, and in fact the whole series, are based on old Buffalo Effects pedals that are no longer made. Now, since I've done that demo, I've found that the TDY in recording situations is incredibly useful. I've used it a fair bit, actually. An example of the way I've used it is if I'm using my Vox amplifier, which doesn't have a lot of bass, I can slam the front end of that with bass from this, and I can also add a bit more saturation as well. This is based on the old Buffalo Effects TDY, which was based on the Chandler Tube Driver, which was used by Eric Johnson and David Gilmour. Very, very cool pedal. I have 2 more pedals from the Spectrum series that I haven't demoed yet, the Canberra Overdrive and the Patriarch Fuzz, and those demos are going to be coming out shortly. Also, they've sent me out the Elastic Mattress, which is their Electric Mistress clone or variant, and I'll be looking forward to bringing you out a demo of that very shortly as well. Thank you everybody for a wonderful year. It really has been a pleasure. I really enjoy reading your comments and getting your feedback, and so please continue to do that, everybody. It really means a lot to me. And last thing I want to say is, please, in the holidays, stay safe, and we'll see you again next year.